Peace to the family. Peace to the family. I was gonna let this situation go for a few days, see what else develops, but every day there's a new development. Now, I'm at a point, anybody telling me not to share my viewpoint, it's my channel. People all over YouTube are entitled to put up all sorts of ratchet stuff, things that don't make you necessarily think at all. Nothing pertaining to politics, nothing pertaining to economics, nothing pertaining to the criminal justice system. But for some reason, there's a concerted effort, even to the point now I'm getting death threats, for sharing my opinion, and as far as telling people how important it is to question everything when it comes to a black man that's been murdered. And it's not going to stop, because when I did my debates with Christians, Muslims, Jews, I've always been getting threats. I get threats walking straight into the event. So I'm just built for this. This is what I do. But what I'll tell you is, it's something very eerie about the overwhelming amount of people telling us to not question the most recent events that transpired as far as Nipsey Hussle's murder. Now, I don't know why people keep using the word conspiracy theory when I'm presenting to you facts. I'm presenting to you facts. Okay? So, fact of the matter is this. There's conversation about how someone said Nipsey told the guy he was a snitch and he walked away. But then there's a news report with a man who says he was there, because everybody's claim to fame was, well, was you there? The news report has a man that says he was there with Nipsey. He just left him a few seconds ago, and then the dude killed him. He said when he was next to Nipsey, the guy introduced himself as a rapper, meaning neither Nipsey or him didn't know who the guy was. But the snitch narrative went out. So when the snitch narrative went out, I simply said, hey, if he's a snitch, then that means favorable concessions have been made onto him by way of the government so that he can be free. So he works for the government. Snitches work for the government. They work in collusion with the government. So how dare you tell me the government's not involved if the narrative is he's a snitch? Now, if he's not a snitch and that information went out, where did that information come from? But be that as it may, now the woman who's the getaway driver, I ain't never heard of a getaway driver not being locked up. I've never heard of a getaway driver, an accomplice is what we would call it, right? Driving, oh shit, I didn't even know that he was out to murder somebody. My bad. Imagine if all the other getaway drivers in the hood were able to say, yo, I didn't even know that the homie was about to body somebody. So you mean to tell me this guy went back in the car all cordially, clean shirt and all? He didn't look like he was a bit distracted or nervous. He didn't say, quick, drive, get out of here. He didn't do none of that. He just walked in the car, made sure his seatbelt was on, told her check your rear view mirror, and let's just drive off. That's what he did. And she didn't have the slightest intimation that he left the car to kill somebody or came back in the car after killing somebody. She gets off, she's free. She's not been detained. She has not been arrested. She's not been accused of a crime. She just didn't know. But that makes sense to y'all. So now it gets even more weird. It gets even more weird. Now when we look at the case, Eric Holder has Chris Darden as his defense attorney. Eric Holder, the gang member, named Shitty. Let's put all this into context now. This is a broke gang member named Shitty. This is a broke gang member named Shitty. This is a broke gang member named Shitty who gets Chris Darden as his defense attorney. Let's just do the research on Chris Darden. He's not a legal aid, family. Because you know, broke gang members, they get legal aids. People that have been accredited as being eyewitness for murders don't even get a $5 million bail. This guy got a $5 million bail. That's just weird in itself. But I mean, we said, man, he ain't gonna be able to afford the $5 million bail. But now I'm questioning that because he has a high-profile attorney. Because Chris Darden, his defense attorney, happens to be O.J. Simpson's prosecutor. This was one of the prosecutors for O.J. Simpson. When have you ever seen someone in the hood accused of murder who's broke? And then a high-profile attorney says, I'm going to take your case. And you guys would like to believe, what? That he's doing this pro bono? I bet you the hood narrative is going to be this. The hood narrative is going to be, oh, he's just clout chasing because he ain't had no business in such a long time. Because I know how Negroes just think simple sometimes. So you mean to tell me with all the various black folks in America that social injustices have been perpetrated against, he couldn't pick any one of them whose stories went nationwide so he can have favor with his own people and really develop his brand? If you want to do something for free, there's a whole bunch of black people nationwide whose stories went nationwide that he can come to the family, come to the aid of the families, come to the accused and say, man, I got your back. But out of all people, a prosecutor from O.J. Simpson's case says, no, I'm going to take this guy that everybody said they saw, shoot this man in his head, shoot him 5 more times in his body, and kick his corpse right after. No, I'm going to defend him for free. Y'all going to really believe that shit? Y'all taking in that story? See, at this point, even if you were saying, yo, there ain't no conspiracy, no, that's black people doing this, that, and the third, how do you explain a high-profile prosecutor from O.J. Simpson's case defending somebody named Shitty, who's broke, who was considered to be seen shooting somebody and murdering them in that particular capacity at that? How do you explain something like that? Y'all still saying, yo, just turn your head, man. Just turn your head, man. It's just black people killing black people. Now it's also black people defending black people who kill black people. That's what we doing. And yes, and look at the optics. I'm gonna tell you how the optics work. White folks is gonna be our knights in shining armor because we're gonna root for the white folks because they're gonna be the prosecutors in this case. They're gonna be the ones looking to incarcerate this person. Okay? The judge probably gonna be white for all we know. So unless the judge is gonna let him be free, then the judge may be black. I'm telling you, you gotta look at the optics. If this black man creates any opportunity for this guy to get less than what he is due, which is the death penalty or hundreds of years, life in prison and all this other stuff, if he does anything that works to the better advantage of this black man, you will still have black people in a state of unrest blaming black people, creating a state of dissension amongst our community. And this is the first time the government hands look so clean. It's just extremely clean. The government's hands is extremely clean. This is the same government, family, that when Martin Luther King got murdered, they had black people walking around saying, man, you know, he was assassinated, man, by white folks. Then you turn around and say, man, he was assassinated, man, by black people. You see that? Black people killed him. Then years go by, and guess what happens? Dr. King's family won against the United States, proving that the United States worked a conspiracy to kill that man and spread false narratives throughout the media. All you gotta do is look it up. Dr. King's family won the lawsuit. Dr. King's family won against the United States because it was fact proven that America put out a false narrative by way of the media about his murder, and we didn't find out about this until years later, and many of you to this day still don't know yourselves that this is a historical fact. So when you hear people like myself speaking from a reference, let me say it like this. When you hear people like myself not trust the circumstances that surround Nipsey Hussle's murder, it's because I'm speaking from historical points of reference, because I am not talking about something that has not been done before here in America. For Fred Hampton's case, you got to remember, the police had a search warrant for Fred Hampton. They said Fred was shooting at him. When you look at the direction of the bullets, you find out that that was a lie. They shot galore. Then you find out later that they planted somebody to set up Fred Hampton. Okay? You got to take all these different things into consideration before you just start saying, Man, it's just black on black crime. You got to remember, the FBI put out their first agent, the first black agent, okay? Agent Zero, the first black agent, was commissioned to spy on Marcus Garvey, be part of his organization, and understand the workings, the inner workings of his organization. And then they made it look like he was committing fraud, so much so that Marcus Garvey attempted to kill himself not once but twice because his own people turned against him. And now today, because of the Freedom of Information Act, we're able to access this information, but the people that are able to access it don't give a hell because they don't have no knowledge of self. They don't have no knowledge of self. So the people that are able to access the information today are the same people that's telling us, man, that's just black on black crime, because they're ignorant, because they have no knowledge of self. Y'all want more information about how I'm speaking from historical context and historical reference points? I'm not just making this stuff up in my head. People are coming up with this word conspiracy theory, even when you're pushing forward facts. That's what's weird about people. Like, they're saying conspiracy theory while you're saying factual things. I'm saying the driver did not get locked up. The getaway driver always gets locked up. When have you ever known a getaway driver for a murder to not get locked up? When have you ever heard of that? Y'all from the hood, right? Getaway drivers know. Getaway drivers know that they will get locked up. When have you heard them not be detained, not be arrested, their identity not being disclosed, because you know what, we're gonna lock them? Nah, she's not locked up, the getaway driver. Think about that, family. Give me a second. Think about that. So, I never in my life saw a situation where a broke gang member, who they say was eyewitness for murdering somebody maliciously, insanely, I've never ever in my life seen a scenario where a high-profile attorney says, oh no, I got this case. Which only leads me to conclude, for a black man to take this type of case, it tells me that someone paid the retainer. That bag has to be big. Because I'm going to tell you this, if they already murdered members of Eric Holder's family when they was looking for him, one reason I would not take the case as a black man, knowing that they said this guy was eyewitness for killing this guy. Oh no, fam, you gotta get you a legal aid. You ain't got no bread, you gotta get you a legal aid. That's one. Two, it can't be a business move, because that will only further lower your stock. Because now you finally coming out of business. Is this the only case you're gonna take? That's an act of desperation. Stop thinking these people are so smart that they won't do dumb things in front of you so you can think that they're just as dumb. Stop doing that. Stop thinking that people, when they do these dumb things in government, that it's not a calculative act of stupidness. Calculative acts of stupidity has been conducted by the government since time immemorial. It's how they put people to sleep. If it looks too sophisticated, you'll be like, hold on now, this ain't right. But when it looks completely asinine, when it seems so silly, you be like, man, you know what? It just is what it is. The dude is broke, or, he ain't have a case in a long time. The dude got his own firm. Stop it. He's doing good. His resume says, I was prosecutor on O.J Simpson's case. He's not doing that bad, people. There's a whole lot of people doing worse than him, than for him to defend somebody named Shitty for free, who was called an eyewitness, who was considered eyewitness to a murder. People eyewitness him according to the narrative. And I have to say according to the narrative, because you never know what they say is true, because now there's so many different stories about if Nipsey even knew this guy in the first place. And I still want to know who came up with, yo, Nipsey told him he's a snitch, and boom, he had to get out of it. I still want to know where that conversation comes from. Who knew that part of the conversation? Did Nipsey go to someone and say, yo, I just told this guy he's a snitch? Where did someone had to be with him during that? And there's a guy on the news who said he was with Nipsey when the guy introduced himself. And apparently, based on what the guy said, the guy introduced himself, Eric Holder introduced himself, if it's Eric Holder introduced himself as a rapper. If Nipsey knew him, he wouldn't have to introduce himself as a rapper to Nipsey. So now I got a question, is this news report false? Is the narrative about him being a snitch false? How on earth did the driver, who's an accomplice, get off, not be detained, not be arrested, not identified as an accomplice? And now O.J. Simpson's former prosecutor is the defense attorney for Shitty, or Eric Holder. Listen, family, he's a prosecutor. Prosecutor's job is to see to it that you are locked up. Their whole mission objective is to make sure you get locked up. This murderer, as we identify him, not only doesn't have a legal aid because he's broke, not only does he have a high-powered attorney, he has a high-powered defense attorney who used to be a prosecutor. Meaning, and not just any prosecutor, a prosecutor for O.J. Simpson's case. This means he has some of the best resources at his disposal when it comes to knowing what kind of strategy the other side is going to prepare to lock him up. Listen to what I'm saying. He not only has a defense attorney, he has a high-profile former prosecutor who would understand how to defend better than most people, because not only was he a former prosecutor, he was a former prosecutor under Marcia Clark, who was the lead prosecution for O.J. Simpson's case. So that's one hell of an internship. And she called for him. She called for him to partake in that particular case, and he took it up. You got to do the research, man. So now you got to say, not only does he have a former prosecutor, now he's a defense attorney. A former prosecutor as a defense attorney knows both sides. He knows how the other side thinks. And not only does he know how the other side thinks, he knows how the other side thinks for a high-profile case. So he's definitely prepared to free this black man. And guess what? What's the plea? This black man said he pleads not guilty. The guy that people say is eyewitness for the murder, Eric Holder, eyewitness for the murder of Nipsey Hussle, having shot him 6 times, once in the head, 5 to the body, and then kicked the body after shooting him. He pled not guilty. And not only did he plead not guilty, he pled not guilty at the defense of a Chris Darden, a high-profile former prosecutor of O.J. Simpson's case. The dude pled not guilty, man. And it's not like he pled not guilty because he's broke and he's crazy. He pled not guilty under the guidance of a high-profile attorney. If this is not blowing your mind, I'm telling you, they're playing reality TV because the reality TV audience IQ is very low. So many of you that still saying, man, conspiracy this, conspiracy that, y'all need to really start hitting the books. You need to really start studying U.S. history, not from the public school system, but from the black conscious community. Y'all need to really start studying. You need to start studying Kwame Ture, Sheikh Anta Diop, John Henry Clark, Theophile Benga, okay, Francis Cress Welsing, Jewel Pookrum, y'all, Queen of Four, y'all need to get in tune with the masters. And that's just a few names. Y'all need to really get locked in and start doing your research about history and just consciousness in general, the Black Power movement, Bobby Seale, Fred Hampton, Huey Newton. You guys need to, Mumia Abu-Jamal, you guys need to really put some time in and start studying. Put the David Icke books down, start studying the works of those people. Okay, Claude Anderson. You need to study these people. You need to study how they strategize and get in tune with our culture. You need to study these prolific authors and speakers So these false narratives can't come at you and you not parry them. You're supposed to parry these false narratives. But y'all playing games and just going with anything that they tell you. So I'm not going to hold you. I just wanted to share what I got going on in my mind, because when I looked at this, I said, oh shoot, not guilty. And then I see the attorney constantly telling him what to say as the judge is corresponding with him. And I'm saying, man, who's this guy corresponding with him? I guess that's his legal aid. But I'm like, yo, he look familiar. And I start doing the research to make sure I ain't tripping. And I'm like, yo, this is the dude that told O.J Simpson to try the glove on. Remember, if the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit. This the dude. I'm like, yo, I knew I recognized him from somewhere. Like, man, god damn. Yo, listen, man. I'm just watching this thing develop, and I just feel like I'm in an insane asylum. Planet Earth is feeling more and more like an insane asylum. Damn. All right, man. I gotta. I'm flabbergasted by this, man. The dude pled not guilty, and when you watch, someone's telling him what to say, and I'm like, who is this guy telling him what to say? The dude from O.J. Simpson's case. What kind of paradox is that? What is the irony of that? Like, this ain't even satire at this point. This is a smack in black people's face. And like I said, just imagine this guy get off. There's layers of BS that we gotta look at, and somehow, you know what they'll say? No, your own people did that. We ain't got nothing to do with that. You think this guy is doing this for free? I want y'all to really tell me this in the comments. Do you guys really think that this attorney just picked up this guy's case in the name of philanthropy? This is some weird philanthropy. You think this is philanthropy? You think this guy just picked up this case because he's just feeling for this black man? You think he's doing it for free? You think he would risk his business and his identity? Amongst all people he could defend, he will risk his identity. He will risk his business. He will risk opportunities. He don't got to be pro-black now. But I'm saying, this doesn't look good by any race for him to make such a treasonous move against his community. Okay, you went against OJ. All right, you went against OJ. You still was doing your job. All right, maybe you honestly believe he was guilty and you don't have the same black power sentiment we have. Whatever. But this situation, like, come on, bro. You's an agent, man. Come on. You ain't doing this for free either, man. I don't believe in that much hate in the world from a black man of his status, with his stock so high from the OJ case, to turn around and reduce himself to defending somebody named Shitty who has no money, who was eyewitness to a crime of murdering somebody via 6 shots. I'm not going to believe that. Someone paid him, and whoever paid him is helping orchestrate this reality TV show that we calling Nipsey Hussle's murder. And all the people that's going out their way to say, man, you reaching? What am I reaching about? I'm telling you facts. And from the facts that's gathered, I feel a way about it. From the facts that have been gathered, I personally feel like there's foul play. And I got every reason to believe that, because I've never seen a gang member that's broke get the defense of a high-profile former prosecutor from a case such as the O.J. Simpson case. Y'all gotta be kidding me. If y'all, I don't care if it's hard for you to say, yo, I'm sorry for being wrong. I don't care if it's for you to say, you know what, I still don't believe in all the other conspiracy theories that's floating out there. But you gotta say something about this is suspicious. You just gotta keep it real at this point. You ain't gotta agree with me all the time. But damn it, you ain't gotta agree with me all the time. One of the cameras was dropped. You ain't gotta agree with me all the time. But damn it, you ain't gonna tell me you don't find something about this suspicious. I mean, with so many black men that needed some free help and service, shit, we ain't even asked for a high-profile attorney, just one that we can't afford to do something on the strength for us. And this guy get in. You think that this man's doing it just for clout? You think an attorney of his stature is clout chasing? Man, get your eyes into some books and stop this Negro talk. Peace and black power to the family. I love you. I'm still overwhelmed by this. But more and more, I see it for what it is. And if y'all not seeing it for what it is more and more, I really gotta pray for our community. But I'm at a point, the people going against free opinion, those sending me those little slick threats, and those that's like just advocating that our people shouldn't question things considering the history of America. I've just established to myself, most of those people have passed trolls as a definition, and these are government trolls. That's how I look at it, because no one's that stupid at this particular point. And that's my take. Some of you are, but not nearly that much. Not nearly that much. You know, I know a lot of sheepers out there, so if there's a lot of people saying, no, stop thinking like that, I know how a lot of people gonna go for it, but nah. A lot of this being promulgated into the internet community of the stop questioning, and calling people names for questioning, I totally have come to the conclusion that that's part of this false narrative that's premeditated and has been orchestrated to sway people's judgment so they can get away with sweeping a lot of their debauchery under the rug. Peace and black power to you. I love you all. I'm out. Keep thinking.